I was reading this book, and out from between the pages, like around page 46 or so, there was this little note. Um, I don't know when I put it in there. This note right here. Are you scared to get happy? You may notice that it's like a fair bit more wrinkled than its pristine form when I first discovered it as this beautiful antidote to everything that was troubling me about this video on note-taking that I was trying to make. That's what the video you were just watching was. That was going to be the introduction about note-taking. I stalled the book right over here, but it's not going to be that video. I failed at making that video, actually. And I failed at making like another 7 different videos on the way to this one. And this video is a video that it may seem like I can't fail at it, but I know that I can. It's about failure. And Are You Scared to Get Happy is going to prove to be actually really important for this video right here. The reason that I'm recording this right now is it's kind of cheating. I'm going to be intercutting footage throughout this of what I was making before that I thought was a failure. And that me as a young filmmaker, I thought the gap between my taste and my ability was so wide that it was actually insurmountable. And the one film that I actually did make was called Feedback Failure. And I was trying to cut all of that footage in as like B-roll to show you like, hey, like, yeah, here is how I've messed up in the past. This is like what I was doing. This is like how far away I was from what I was trying to do, just like with this video I'm trying to make now. Why the stakes are so high. I'm trying to explain all of that. And the footage actually didn't look that bad. And that was a problem because it means that the way that I look at my own work is not as objective as I thought it was. And that maybe I was closer to success than I actually knew at the time. So here's a short video about failure. And I don't know if I'm actually going to succeed. Like in this moment, the great dramatic asymmetry is that you know, if you're watching it, that I made this or that I made 100 others. This was the first. But in this moment now, I've been working on this for a month and I haven't been able to make 9 other videos. So it's not obvious to me. So you know something I don't. I have had 4 major failures in my life. And I feel as though I'm on the cusp of major failure number 5, which is the making of this video. And I think that might be a really, really good thing for me. And I'm going to try to explain why. When I was 14 years old, I dropped out of high school. I faked having mononucleosis for 2 months, which meant that I had missed enough consecutive classes to be removed from the school's roster. And I basically told my parents that I wasn't going to go back to school. When I was 16, I went to college, and then I dropped out again after 2 months. I have had 3 very influential internships. One working for a MacArthur Genius Award winner who was in the exact field that I wanted to work in. And I was helping him edit the follow-up to one of my favorite books. I quit after around 2 months. I managed to do that several more times. There was this pattern of exploring a path, thinking that somehow that was going to be the path I would go down. And then once I got there and I was doing the hard work of like, you know, when I became Naruto trying to become Hokage, I got really scared. I got really scared that that was going to cut off other paths. You know, like I froze. And I'm trying to figure out why that keeps happening. And the thing that felt most like relief to me in those moments, instead of potentially trying something and failing at it, was ensuring failure on my own terms, having control, and quitting. This is what I looked like when I was working on Othello. You're going to notice that there's a really large beard and a lot of hair. The reason for that is I told myself I couldn't shave, I couldn't cut my hair until I finished Othello. This is at like the 2 to 3 year mark of unsuccessfully making a radio play of Othello. I tried to do it all myself. Desdemona, Emilia, all the voices, all of the sound effects, the score. I wanted to learn every single thing I could about sound. I had a radio station, KPFK, that was going to air it. I didn't do it. I wanted to hold myself up against the greats and see what I could do. And when it came time to make something, it was always endless preparation. I had made one short film. It was the first short film I ever tried to make. It was the last short film I ever tried to make. Feedback failure, which I, again, found myself taking on every aspect of it. And what's in all of these things is like a desire for control. Because if you want to release things, you have to give up some of that control and let someone else have opinions on it and like it or hate it and like or hate you because you made it. When I look at some of this footage, I realize that I wasn't as far off as I thought I was at the time. So this whole notion of the gap between your vision and your ability to carry it out, my vision when it comes to me is entirely unrealistic. What I'm expecting, I think, is like perfection, like actual perfection. Perfectionism is a beautiful, wonderful thing that can make us make things we wouldn't have made otherwise. But there's another side of it that I think anyone who has suffered from it, which is probably everyone, can identify pretty quickly. It also keeps you from actually finishing things. Ira Glass talks about the gap, the iterative cycle that artists find themselves inevitably in when they start trying to make something, where their taste is outpacing their ability. And that gap is painful. And it doesn't go away anytime soon, right? Like, as you gain ability, your taste often improves. So what you may have been satisfied with like day 1, by day 400, you've invested so much, your expectations are growing, there's frustration. It's not like Jack Kerouac writing, right, where you have a big spool of paper and 16 hours later you'll have the great American novel. That wasn't his first project. There was failure upon failure upon failure before that. You know, if I really think about it and measure it as failing would be not making the video, but I need to be making the videos first to find different kinds of problems, like problems in editing. And once I notice those problems, I'll be like, oh, I need more like B-roll footage, or I really do need a story and I need to spend more time in the writing state. It's like not great to watch, right? Like if you've seen amateur theater, some of it's probably good, but a lot of it is like actually really, really difficult to watch. Should people be making it? Should people be making art that's bad art? Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone should be making art. That's how you're going to get better at it. And it is fundamentally hard to make something, even something really bad. So is bad art often the outcome of someone whose ability to create things or their desire to create things has outpaced their taste, and their taste just needs time to catch up? If I give them, the assumption of having really good taste, then they know what they're creating is really bad and that people aren't going to want to see it, but they still make it because you have to get through that period. You have to do that. It's the only way. There's no other way. You have to just make it over and over. Then maybe you make good things as like an apology for everything you made before. Are You Scared to Get Happy? It was the name of my first radio show. And it was a very innocent radio show. Hey, here are the 12 songs I really liked this week. I'm going to play them for you. And I was able to make it every week, which then later on allowed me to make radio because I was used to, it's like Thursday at 4 o'clock, I'll release some music. I knew that pattern. So I think the answer is starting just with like a weekly, here's some like thoughts that I had. I don't know how they connect yet. And that the difficulty in making the first one is like actually most of the difficulty. I don't think it's fear of happiness. It may be a fear of complacency, a fear of losing an edge, and that my edge might just be anxiety. But then I have to evaluate, that edge is working really well in a lot of places, but it's not working all that well here. That edge is not serving me by releasing nothing. That edge is not serving me by causing me to belittle anything I try to ever make, and never being satisfied. I don't think the goal can be happiness for art. I don't know if that's what like the goal is for me. People get there a lot of different ways. I think the important thing is that you get there though, So, like the evaluation of like whether uh, neuroticism and anxiety is functional or not is like kind of an esoteric, irrelevant thought right now if I'm not making anything. Because it's like, no, well, that's not working. You know, if you're not releasing things, you are what you make. And this video is one of those. This video is the first of those. It's okay, just fail. Make a video about failure. If it's really bad, that'll be a great video. It's like the contrastive effect when like you open a movie and it's like a film within the film, or it's like a play within the film, and it's like really bad acting and really flat lighting, and you're like, oh man, this looks so terrible. And then the like camera zooms out, and then there's like, you know, real acting, and everything seems really good and everything's beautiful. And it's like such a cheap effect because you're just using like the contrast. It's like chiaroscuro for acting. You're just using like really bad acting to make the other acting seem good in relief. That's maybe what this video is for me, right? If it's really bad, if it's a failure, if everything looks bad, cool, it's gonna make everything else look better. If it is done really well and it's communicating something transparently, that's also a success for me. So I know not every video can do that. Not every video can be about failure. And I think that's where Are You Scared to Get Happy comes in. Once a week, I'm gonna publish something. And whatever I have, that's what I have. I have to make things for myself. And I have to also know that I'm gonna fail most weeks, that I will miss the mark, but hopefully I'll have explored some new territories. I'll have made something I couldn't have made before. And with like quantity, right? This is the problem everyone has. This isn't like unique to me. Every artist who wants and dares to call himself an artist is gonna struggle with making lots and lots of ugly things. I was reading this book, and out from the pages, just why does that keep falling?
No.